Hey, how's it going everyone? This is White Pointer, and in this video, with Jurassic Park in the news and many YouTubers covering classic Jurassic Park games, I wanted to show some appreciation for a game that's often overlooked and forgotten about, and that's the DOS and Amiga version. A lot of attention is directed towards the console games, which were all pretty different from one another, but nobody is showing any love for this version, which also offers a unique experience. At first glance, this might look similar to the Super Nintendo version, but don't be fooled, it's not even close to the same game. Like that version though, the game is split between these exterior sections, which have a top-down camera, and interior sections that are a 3D first-person view, but that's about where the similarities end. While the SNES version is almost like an open world, allowing you to explore basically wherever you want and requires you to travel back and forth a lot, this game is comprised of levels that don't allow any backtracking once you complete them, although you will pass through previous levels from different directions from time to time. The top-down exterior sections make up roughly about the first 2/3 of the game, while the last third is comprised of the 3D interior levels. Strangely, there's no save feature in this game, even though this version was exclusive to computers that clearly had no issue saving anything, but at least it has a password system for each of the major levels. The soundtrack for this game, composed by Dean Evans, is also fantastic and really sets the mood very well. The best sound comes from the Amiga and DOS CD-ROM version, as the DOS floppy disk version unfortunately just reduces it to MIDI, but regardless it's still very good all around. The exterior levels are generally quite large and require you to explore them fully to get through them, and they often have some kind of puzzle too. For example, needing to collect enough of these berries in order to distract an angry Triceratops for long enough for you to get to safety before it flattens you. They often have these terminals that you can access in order to get a general idea of the layout of whichever paddock you're in, but they don't tell you explicitly how to get to where you need to go. The environments you visit are quite varied as well, from jungle to drainage systems to mountain areas to the inside of a giant aviary. The game starts off after the T-Rex has broken out of its paddock, with Alan Grant next to the overturned car, and he needs to find Tim and Lex. For much of this portion of the game, you're trying to get the kids to the safety of the visitor centre, and this often involves some secondary tasks, such as needing to push Lex as she sits on top of a box across this maze of water, while avoiding some sort of aquatic dinosaur or crocodile thing that periodically pops its head out to try and jump on you. There's also some of the usual video game tropes, like needing to find keycards in order to unlock doors and gates. You'll need to find your way through the paddocks of the Tyrannosaur, Triceratops, Stegosaurus, Gallimimus, Dilophosaurus, Pterosaur, and Brachiosaurus in order to achieve your goal, with a pretty intense encounter with Rexy about halfway through these 2D levels. Your primary weapon in this portion of the game is the cattle prod, which provides a couple of seconds of fire before needing to recharge, which it does pretty quickly. You can pick up some rifle ammo for a longer ranged attack, but this isn't as useful as you might think it is, as it's harder to hit the smaller dinosaurs, and these stupid giant bugs that keep coming at you. Bah! Bah! Shoo! Go away! Where's the Mortine when you need it? Ugh. For the most part, you'll probably want to stick with the taser, which can also be used to push some movable objects around a bit faster. You get 3 lives before you need to restart from the last password. Overall, this is a pretty solid experience, if not sometimes a little tedious, especially with constantly respawning compies and giant flying bugs. Ah! And on its own, makes a pretty good Jurassic Park experience that takes elements from both the movie and the novel. But then, you have the 3D first-person portion of the game. You briefly run through a bunker earlier in the game, which has no enemies in it and is just a bit of a taste for what's to come. Then finally, you play it for real. Obviously, this 3D engine is more advanced than the one seen on the Super Nintendo version, but isn't as advanced as something like Doom, which came out around the same time. The only enemies during these levels are raptors, and there's a lot of them too, often swarming you. While you have a rifle and can shoot them, unfortunately the hit detection seems off, often meaning you'll constantly miss unless they're at point blank range and you're taking damage. There seems to be a bit of a rhythm to it in that you can only really hit them when they're jumping at you, which is a bit weird. Ammo and health pickups are also pretty sparse for the most part and are often found off the critical path, and you don't have the taser to fall back on in these levels if you run out of ammo. For these reasons, it's usually a better idea just to run past most of the raptors rather than trying to kill them, especially given that unlike the 2D part of the game, you're only given 1 life here instead of 3. The goal of this section of the game is to get the power turned back on, so you can call for a helicopter to come and get you all off the island. You make your way through the visitor centre, into an outdoor area, and then into the maintenance shed, before needing to make your way back to the visitor centre through a series of underground caves. These levels really are a maze, and the short draw distance doesn't help either, which is actually even worse on the Amiga version. You're going to really need to rely on the map to figure out where you're going. Because of the overall jankiness around trying to shoot the raptors though, these levels really aren't as fun as they could have been, and you're probably just going to be wildly running around trying to find the exit most of the time. So you get through all of that and are treated to an ending. Oh, that's it? Congratulations, I guess. So yeah, overall, this is a fine Jurassic Park game, all things considered. It's often forgotten or even confused with other versions, but it's its own unique experience. Have you played this version, and if so, what did you think of it compared to the other versions? Were there any other Jurassic Park games that you played that you feel didn't get the attention they deserved? Drop some comments below and let's get a discussion happening. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with my content. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.